We've got a few questions about starting and executing projects, so we'll answer some of them here.
Let's start with Zoe's question. What would you do if you can't come up with any ideas for an art piece?
Something I might try is a brainstorming exercise, like the 30 circles or crazy eights that you guys did in the design thinking project. Those help us break out of a pattern of linear thinking and into divergent thinking. I'd also look at other artists who I admire from the past and the present to see what has been done before as jumping off points. What about you, Emily? Would that be similar for a design project?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely like using those warm-up exercises that you mentioned. And personally, I just find design projects a bit easier to start than art projects because there's usually a defined prompt. Like you'll have a problem you're trying to solve, or someone in your company might give you a design brief with a bunch of details and requirements. Having those restrictions actually makes it easier for me to come up with ideas. Like if someone were to ask me, ooh, can you draw me something? Just whatever you want. I'd be like, I have no idea what to draw. But if someone said, can you come up with an idea for a new cat toy? I'd probably be able to fill up pages with sketches and ideas.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, the same thing kind of applies to art. Limitations can be very helpful. It's just the artists themselves who set them. Even picking a material is a type of limitation, or a subject matter, or a type of process. I often make a bunch of variations of a single subject matter using different ways of painting and then see what I want to run with. A lot of times those tests become the art itself. So, what happens if you know what you're trying to achieve, but you just can't get the right angle or shape for a sketch?
So let's see. In general, if I get stuck on something like a drawing technique, or maybe I don't know how to use a certain piece of software or feature, I'm really grateful that I get to work with other talented designers in my company who I can ask for help. And I have other friends and personal connections who I can reach out to as well. Asking for help and surrounding yourself with other talented people is a really great way to build up your own skills. And that goes for any field.
Yes, when I encounter technical issues, I definitely turn to other artists and ask for their feedback. Critique is helpful even if you don't actually have a technical issue. Often, though, in drawing, not being able to get a shape that you want the way that you want it to look is actually an issue about seeing, not line making. So, getting someone else's eyes on your work is still very helpful there. There are also some tricks you can do by yourself along those lines, like looking at your drawing upside down or in a mirror. And I also look at books and other resources about using materials whenever I have any technical questions. We have another question from Owen about building a design. It's hard for me to build my object physically because I'm limited to some supplies. What should I do?
That's a really good question. A cool thing about design is that usually you get to work on a team with different people all contributing to the different phases of your design process. So for example, if you were working on this challenge with a group in a professional context instead of individually, which is more rare, there would probably be somebody on your team who's more specialized in building prototypes, and maybe they would take the lead on that design phase. But let's say you're in the situation that you're in. You're just one person with a cool idea, but you're not able to construct it on your own. One thing you can do, and this is actually something that has been part of a past job that I had, is hire someone or another company to make the prototype for you. Which you might think, oh, that's kind of weird. It's my idea. Shouldn't I make it myself? Because I know in art, the act of actually creating your piece can be really important. But as a designer, it's important to be able to outsource parts of your process so that you get efficient professional results. Because if you think about it, most of the time you're actually designing something that's going to be mass produced. And usually that means a factory or some sort of external party will ultimately make your final design anyway.
Yes, and even though the process of creating a piece is very important in art, even artists hire assistants and fabricators to produce their pieces when either the labor demands are too high for one person or when it requires some specialized machinery or skills.
Oh, right, like Andy Warhol or somebody like that. But anyway, I do want to make sure I'm answering Owen's question. So practically speaking, if we're really just talking about this project and you're not ready to sink some money into hiring somebody to help make a prototype for you, I'd just advise you to do the very best you can with what you have available. Again, don't feel shy about using existing products to help prototype your idea. Nobody ever said that you have to create a prototype completely from scratch. So see if you can repurpose some items around your home if you can. But I know it's a really tricky time to get supplies right now, so it's okay to be frustrated if you don't have the materials you need.